We're live.
We're live. Hello. Okay.
Are you ready to
Deep
start?
breath in and out.
Getting centered.
Here we go. Okay, I'm ready. You ready?
Uh-huh.
All right, we're recording. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back to the Authentic Souls podcast. I am Danielle Churchill.
And I am Savannah Nicholson. Hope you're doing so well.
We are back by the ocean. Last week we were in the mountains.
Yeah.
Now we're by the ocean. Who knows where we're going to be next week?
Seriously, every week is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start living an intuition-led life, you realize there is no real schedule. You can have some kind of like blueprint and structure to your life, but when you're truly living from like this heart-centered place of like waking up and deciding what you want to do each day, like I said, also with some structure involved, but you really don't know where you're going to end up each week.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah. I remember when I really started living this way, people would be like, so what's your schedule like? Like, what's your week to week like life like? And I'm like, every week is so different.
Every day is so different.
Yeah.
Depending on how I'm feeling, depending on,
so many things. Yeah. And speaking of feeling, how are you feeling, Danielle?
You know, I'm a little grumpy Gus. I'm on my period. So I'm just like I was in my little cave today, just like watching sad movies, but I've emerged from the cave. I'm ready to be in the land of the living again.
Yeah. I was hanging out with like little kids all day. So I was on like the complete opposite energy spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're like meeting somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Nice balance.
Right. Grounded and
yet energized.
And yeah.
Love that for us.
Can you sense that? Can you sense that that's what we're bringing to the table today?
Also, fun fact, to be completely authentic, guess who recorded this podcast yesterday and it didn't turn out well? We did. We did. But we love you so much.
Take 2.
Yeah. And we love you so much that we decided to do it again because we could do better.
We couldn't give you what we did yesterday.
No.
Just not with good conscience.
It would not cut it. Because today we have a great topic.
Mm-hmm. And we got to do it justice.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited.
Me too. We're talking about FOMO, people. Fear of missing out. And let me tell you.
Who can relate?
This shit is not fun.
No.
Especially in a post-pandemic world. Like, FOMO is fucking real, let me say. When you're watching all your friends on Instagram, living their best lives, going back to quote-unquote normal, and
whatever normal is.
Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah. And sometimes you're just not ready to be doing that yet.
It can be very triggering. And you're like, oh, why do I feel this way? You can come up as like jealousy or just feeling like not good enough or feeling left behind. There's like so many different ways it can come up.
Yeah.
And it's come up for both of us multiple times in multiple ways.
Different ways. Yeah.
And we were like, you know what we should do? Talk about it on the podcast.
We should. Because we know we're not the only ones. And especially I just feel like with a year and a half of no one doing anything, all of a sudden it's like even more real than ever. Because I've always had FOMO. Like I've always been the type of person that if like something's happening, I need to be there.
Well,
like why am I not there?
So she's a fire sign. She needs to be out in the world.
I need to be in the center of it all.
Having
And
fun.
Yeah.
Living her best life.
I need to say yes to everything. Well, that was my 20.
You're like early 20s. Your early 20s self.
Yeah.
Really said yes to everything.
Exactly. Now I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Day by day. See how we're feeling.
Exactly.
A little more grounded.
A little more cautious too. Because shit, we went through so much trauma the last year and a half. Like, I'm not ready to just like jump back and pretend like everything's normal. I can't roll like that. I wish I was cool enough, but.
Well, and I'm sure everyone's going through their own like processing around it and how they're choosing to go back out in the world. But I know like personally, it feels like everyone's just able to revert back to who they were in 2019, 2018. And I'm so confused because I'm like, I can't do that. I couldn't do that if I tried. But at the same time, like I said, that's just my observation, like based on what they're showing me. So I have no idea what these people are internalizing, what they're actually going through. maybe they had moments of anxiousness like leading up to the event or whatever they're showing off online, because it is a highlight reel and we always have to remember that.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, it can just be just frustrating. You're just like, gosh. And then if you're someone like Danielle and I, like, we try so hard not to victimize ourselves in situations. And in any moment that we do feel like, woe is me, like, oh, why are they living so much better than I am? Like, you're just doing that to yourself on some level. And so then really having to self-reflect and dig into like, why am I projecting onto that person this emotion?
Essentially, they're a mirror. So whatever you're seeing and wanting, they're mirroring something back to you. They're mirroring a desire. They're mirroring something that, you know, you're just now bringing awareness to. So I think it's something that we have to catch ourselves. At least I'm in the practice of catching myself before I kind of go down that spiral of like you said, woe is me. And instead be like, okay, what's coming up that I'm feeling and how can we deal with it? What are the deeper rooted issues here? Because it's not just that I wanted to go to that thing and I couldn't go and my life is over because I'm not 18 anymore. That's how I felt when I was 18. But now it's like, okay, what's the real issue here?
Yeah, totally. And recognizing like the people and the things, whatever is triggering you, it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. And like you said, just having awareness around like what about them is triggering me. And maybe it's their like comfortability going back into the world. Like maybe that's just triggering alone, is like, why is everyone else so comfortable and I'm not? And you're like, just not having shame around that. Like, okay, maybe I took on a little more fears than I realized this past year. It's like,
there's more to kind of work through first.
Yeah. There's a lot of like integration. Like, I feel like we all had so much just awareness to so many things in 2020 because we were all isolated and, you know, there were so many movements and
a lot of processing
collectively and individually. And, now I just think it's the integration period of like, how do we now show up in this like new version of us all in this new world? I mean, it's not new, but you know,
it feels like a new chapter just collectively, which I've never experienced that feeling before. Usually you feel like you're kind of in your own, which we all are in our own journey, but it's so interesting to feel like we're just all going through this collective shift of like this new way of being, whatever we want to show up as. And it's an interesting feeling.
What you said a couple days ago, we were at the beach and you were talking about how it felt like a lot of people in the beginning of the pandemic, like really were like, whoa, I have to like, I'm kind of reevaluating my life because I'm just, you know, everything was flipped on its head. You're at home, you're looking at all your relationships, you're looking at your home, you're looking at your job, you're looking at everything and realizing like, is this for me or not? And then realigning to what does feel good. And then we were all like just in the pandemic. And then we were reflecting on like, now people are kind of going through that same process. Now that life's reopening up, you can like,
you're reassessing again.
You're reassessing
who you want to show up as, who you want to be around you, what you want your life to look like in this new phase. It's really interesting.
So it's just like we did it like at the beginning of the pandemic. We were kind of like it's interesting. We're kind of reevaluating like our internal lives and like our at home lives, our interpersonal lives, and now we're kind of reevaluating our external lives.
So true.
Which is really interesting. Just an observation. And just
that's a lot of fucking processing for just such a short period of time.
So much processing for a year. What the hell? Let's reevaluate our entire internal life, and now let's reevaluate our entire external life.
Wow, I've never thought about it that way, but that's super true.
Well, I'm just saying it like that. I'm like, it just gives me immediate like grace for myself for like any overwhelm or any moments of anxiety. I proudly signed myself up for therapy this week. So just having like support around just the processing even more. I'm really excited to take the pressure off my personal relationships more and be able to have that healthy outlet. Just because I think we're so in this year. I don't think we all realize that we're still in it. Like we're, or, you know, not even the year, but just the pandemic. Like, just because we're vaccinated, which getting vaccinated definitely kind of felt like you graduated, right? Like, I'm free. I have this like force field around me. But there's still so much like
But it's
actively
also
going on internally.
Yeah, it's not that easy even with that to just show up in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely, I think it removed a lot of fear for both of us, and we've talked about this, but I didn't realize still how much fear I was still holding on to, even with that kind of sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, like, but my body is still holding on to so much fear of all the trauma.
Yeah.
So this is not something I can just like, okay, like I'm done on to the next. Like it's going to take a little bit longer than that for me.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No matter how long it takes, like we just each have to keep showing up with grace and surrender, and that's just the human experience, man. You're like, well, why am I here? Why is this happening?
Well, and when Savannah and I first talked about the term FOMO and how we were like, oh shit, we should talk about this because this is kind of both popping up in both of our lives right now. She sent me a quote that kind of just like
Mm-hmm.
blew my mind a little bit. Because essentially what it said was, if you're experiencing FOMO, there's probably a deeper rooted like sense of insecurity and sense of like you questioning your worthiness.
Mm-hmm.
And you're placing your worthiness on being seen and showing up and being in the world and having experiences, which nothing wrong with that, but to be placing all of your sense of worthiness
mm-hmm.
on those things, I was like, whoa, that really, I'm still having to kind of evaluate that in my own life of like not placing my worthiness on that.
Yeah. On how you're showing up out in the outside world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That quote was super long. We're going to post it on our social media.
Yeah.
Follow us at Authentic Souls on Instagram. But yeah, go read it. But another part that really stuck out to me was like talking about the fear of being forgotten. I think that's really shown up for me these past couple of weeks. Is I've had some triggering moments just having the fear of being forgotten as everyone goes out into the world, realizing I can't show up and I don't want to show up in the way that I used to. It doesn't feel aligning, but also like, who is this next version of me? I'm still figuring her out. And I hope like all the people I love are still going to be there while I figure it out. And hopefully they still want to like be involved with that next version of Savannah. And yeah, there's just a lot of like unknown. And so it just goes back to being your own biggest cheerleader and advocate and all those things, but it can be really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't been confronted with this for a year. Which is like the nice part of being isolated and quarantined, is like, you don't have everyone else pushing their lives in your face, triggering you, showing you what you actually want.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, for me, one of the biggest triggers was watching people just like go off and adventure and post their beautiful memories and all the things they're doing. And me realizing like deep down, like, I don't think I could do that right now. And there's a level of embarrassment and shame and like fear, like, because for me, I get anxious and I'm like, I couldn't just like hop on a seaplane and then get on a boat and then go stay here and then go camping, and that's just not really my personality to begin with. But still, like, even if I wanted to, I don't think I could right now. And that's kind of hard to say, but also it really shines light on like, that has nothing to do with the person who went on the adventure. That's everything to do with me. And it just shines light on like, okay, I need to work on my anxiety and getting comfortable being back out in the world. And how can I get to that place of going and traveling so freely, whatever that means for me.
Yeah.
But just understanding it's going to take time. There's this like level of wanting it to just be immediate. Like you have the realization, you're like, oh, I'm being triggered, heal. And it's like, no, it doesn't happen like that.
The awareness is the first step for sure. And that's kind of what I'm working through too, is just noticing myself when I'm on social media and I'm having these reactions, you know, catching them before they get to the point where I'm like really being emotionally affected. yeah, and just trying to use social media in a more positive way, which, yeah, it's a process for sure. It's not something that just snap your fingers and you're like, okay, all better.
Yeah. Well, and I think like at least our process with using social media as a tool rather than like as a trigger is, if you do have that moment when you see something and you feel a certain way, is like owning that you feel that, like you said, observing it, be like, oh, interesting, you're really jealous right now, or you're really reactive or really judgmental or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then realizing like the only way through it and the only way to heal it is to learn how to love it. And it's so mind boggling and you get so frustrated in the moment because the last thing you want to do is love that person, situation, or thing.
Get excited for them.
Yeah. But then once you can get excited for them and you're like, oh, I'm so stoked they did that thing, or they have that thing, or they're experiencing that, or they have the amazing partner, or just like whatever it is that you're jealous of, and just getting honest with it and being kind of laughing at yourself like, oh, silly little human. It's okay. That's just a part of the simulation. And
that's just kind of how your brain works, but that's okay. It's not real.
It's part of the process. You see something, you want it, you feel jealous.
Yeah.
And understanding you're human, so that's your human characteristic, and then understanding you have the ability to rewrite that scenario. So,
well, one of the things that Savannah brought up when we were talking about this earlier is finding that love for yourself again through this process, instead of focusing so much on the external and what everyone else is doing. Like, what can you do for yourself to really make yourself fall back in love with you? And so you really know the things that light you up. And so then you're going to say yes to more things and kind of get back into it, find your confidence again. So I think that's a huge thing that I'm being conscious of working on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The falling back in love with yourself is, I don't know where I heard that, or maybe that was just like my own realization of like, it probably was. It was like a reflection of me just trying to figure out like, how did I get back to this place of like self, I don't want to use the word hatred, but it's just like, it sucks when you're not at your optimal and you really want to be, and you know you have been before.
Not as confident as
you can't help but feel lesser than about yourself. And I try so hard to like hold that confidence, hold that space for myself. But that's really like, at least for me, the truest antidote and like medicine for it all is just falling back in love with yourself. It's like, I mean, that's what we first, I feel like that's why we like got along so well, is because we were so like hyper independent and like individualistic and all,
so confident in every aspect of our lives. Like, and I think that's a hard thing for both of us right now. And in this transition phase, just with the world and in both of our personal lives, we aren't as confident as we used to be because things are just kind of really unknown and it's hard to hold that. And we used to be so confident and just show up like so sure of ourselves, like just not questioning anything. And so in the moments of like, when you're not feeling that, it's like, where did that go? Like, where is she? Like, I know she's in there. Like, why am I allowing all these things to affect me when I used to be able to like just brush them off, no problem.
I think there's a level of that has to do with like the authenticity part of like what we've been implementing into our brand. It's like social media, all it's really taught us, I mean, it's taught us so many things, but one of the things it's really taught us to do is how to curate something. And I think that was one of the reasons why we were so hyper confident, is because we knew we were putting out this like certain image of ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And we had this like protection mechanism up. And now with the state of and that's what like low key all of society is. It's just like facades. Everyone has this facade of who they are and what they are, but are they really that thing? Are they really that person? And then you can, I think as we all are like awakening and the collective consciousness is like rising and we're all getting more sensitive, that we can sense when someone's being inauthentic or when they're being authentic. So it's like a huge reason why we shifted our brand and wanted to share more about ourselves. But with that comes the vulnerability. So we don't have the protection mechanism up anymore.
Yeah, it's
true. Like this is what you get to see of me. I'm not going to show you anything else.
Yeah.
I want you to think I'm successful. I want you to think I am happy. I want you to think I am well, I don't know, beautiful.
100% of the time. Yeah.
All the time. I'm thriving. But that's not what being human is. So
yeah. And I think we haven't been doing it long enough. I have faith that through this process, we will gain a new kind of confidence and a better kind of confidence.
A truer confidence. Yeah.
I like that. A truer confidence. But we have to like do the work first and show up in this way for a while before we're going to really be proud of it. I think we're not proud of it, but
comfortable.
Yeah. Comfortable in it and be like, oh, people are receiving this well. Like we're not crazy. And I know like that's just right around the corner, but we're kind of like sitting in just like the uncomfortable
unknown.
Yeah. Unknown, all the things. But yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I have full faith that we'll get back to that point, and
yeah, everyone will figure it out. And that's the thing. It's like I was saying before, it just hasn't, it's not just over, you know, we're still in it. We're still evolving into this next version of ourselves. So I think honestly, we're probably just like creating this audio time capsule of like how everyone's feeling,
literally,
of like, who am I?
Yeah.
How do I show up to the world? I don't think there's many people who are like 100% confident in that right now. Maybe they are, and that's amazing. And maybe they are in like a certain area of their life, whether it's, you know, I feel like everyone usually has like one thing going for them, whether it's their job, relationships, finances, whatever it is, you know. And the goal is for all of us to have all of those things in balance. But at the same time, being human, it's inevitable that we're going to be working through something at some point in our life.
It's never going to be completely perfect. Yeah. Which is hard for me because I'm a little Miss Perfectionist. Like, why is it not perfect?
Or yeah, just as you get older, like as you have more experiences, like I'm realizing like, oh, this is not happening again, but like this subject or this topic or part of my life that I thought I like conquered and succeeded at, I'm now like struggling with it again. And I'm like, oh, wait, I thought I mastered this. It's like, no, it's a muscle. You have to practice it. You have to keep practicing it.
Yeah.
Which, it's so fun.
We got to get to the gym, start working on those muscles.
Oh my God. Speaking of the gym, I'm not going to the gym, but I am going to start running.
All right.
Should we talk about that real quick?
Sure.
Should we talk about body pot?
So this is what we're going to do to get our confidence back.
Yeah,
we are going to start doing body pot, and we'll tell you what that is.
Oh my God.
We listened to a podcast all about running, and Savannah went on one run the other day.
You know me,
and so she was like,
so
I'm a runner now.
Yeah.
So
and now I run.
We listened to a podcast about it, and it was talking about the runner's high, and everyone always attributes that to endorphins. Endorphins, thank you. And actually, in fact, that's not the case because that does not go back past the blood-brain barrier. So science, y'all. We have oh God, us explaining this. I'll let you explain the next part.
If you want to actually listen to the real podcast, go listen to Stuff You Should Know, and they have a whole thing on it. Yeah. But they were talking about like our body has a cannabinoid receptors and system within us, to the point like where you don't even need to consume any kind of cannabis to like set these off. But if you go running, it'll
That's one of the things it sets off.
It'll set off the receptor and you feel high.
So interesting.
And if you know me, I heart cannabis, so I also heart running now.
So she's gonna get high on life.
High on running. So excited. Now I have to go run.
Yeah, maybe do like 2 or 3 runs, and then I think you can officially call yourself a runner.
Okay, well, I've been on one. And that was like last week, so I should probably try doing that again.
We'll do a little beach run.
Yeah.
Ooh, we could run down to the beach, jump in the ocean, do a cold water plunge, and then run back. That would be good for the bod.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so FOMO, self-mastery, kind of like falling back in love with yourself, all of that. The other energy that I've really been playing with, I guess I could kind of touch on the dingo energy. I feel like that would be kind of interesting.
Are you gonna bring that into FOMO?
Well, kind of like, I feel like the FOMO aspect of fear of missing out, that all stems from a lack of confidence.
Yes, I agree.
It's just like underlying lack of confidence, worthiness.
Yeah.
So falling back in love with yourself, your worthiness and your confidence is going to rise.
I'm with you.
And okay, so in the dingo energy, now where the heck am I going there? So if you're familiar with oracle cards or tarot cards, they're cards that how do you explain them?
They're magic cards.
They're magic cards connected to the universe.
They're messages from the universe. And they're literally, that sounds so like, I don't know. Silly, but they're so spot on. Like, it's actually insane. There's a word
for when you use a modality to communicate with the spirit world. Think Ouija board, but not Oracle? Scary.
But you already said.
No, oracle cards. It's a part of like occult magic, which occult is for good. So all of this is for good, for positivity, for light. We are not about that dark magic shit.
No.
Goodbye. Adios. You will never find that here.
Yeah.
Oracle cards are the things of fairies and mermaids
and dingoes.
Okay, we're going real off tangent. So anyway, I was having a week a couple weeks ago, and I did an oracle card reading, and I pulled a card, and I got the dingo. It was an animal card deck, so it's all animals, and the dingo is basically like a wild dog, and he relies on his charm through life. He is very playful and very creative, and knows that people will always look out for him. So basically it said, if you are pulling this card in your life, you need to get to work, stop relying on your charm, and basically just show up in the ways of like fully taking care of yourself and taking ownership over your life.
Yeah.
So to be completely honest, I got very emotional when I read that card because it was kind of like a slap in the face of like,
when it's so real, you're like, fuck.
That's
okay, I hear you.
These oracle cards are so real.
They're so real.
They will just tell you what you need to hear. So real.
Yeah.
So basically mine was like, you're 27. It's time, to put it lightly, to figure your shit out. So I'm like, you know what? A week later, I processed it and I'm like fully applying that message to my life.
And that can be empowering.
And I'm going to take it as empowering.
Yeah.
So physical activity. I'm stepping my game up.
Falling back in love with yourself. What else are we going to do to combat FOMO?
We're showing up every week to this fucking podcast, y'all. Hey.
Because it brings us a lot of joy.
And consistency.
It gives us purpose. All the good things. I'm going to be empowered to say no to things when they don't align. But also not be afraid to say yes to things when I'm like, shit, that does sound good. Even though I'm scared. So, yeah.
Also, So did that make sense with the dingo energy? Hopefully. Hopefully I'm wrapping that up and hopefully that kind of makes sense. And just for me at least, just really taking ownership of our lives, not relying on our charm and hoping that someone's going to reach out and save us. We need to be showing up for ourselves and being playful at the same time, but I'm really curious and excited. And like I said, having this like audio time capsule of like where we're at in this time, it'll be interesting, like where we're at in a couple weeks, couple months, I know it'll be so funny to look back at all of these like beginning episodes and just like bring us back to where we are in this moment. Cause it's such a unique time. So I'm excited to look back where we're at and where we're gonna, who knows where we'll be by the end of the summer.
Maybe we'll be on a beach in Mexico recording this.
Oh, I love that. Was that like a little intuition download you just got?
It was something. I don't know what it was, but
Well, okay. I'll take that. It'll be good, whatever it is.
whatever's coming.
Yeah. I don't think I have much.
Hopefully we covered FOMO. Hopefully if you've been experiencing FOMO, you're feeling a little bit heard, you're feeling a little bit seen, you're feeling empowered to take the necessary steps to not feel those icky feelings. Because they're icky. No one wants to feel those feelings of being left out.
Yeah. So recognize it, feel them.
Mm-hmm.
We do encourage you to feel them though.
Yeah.
Feel them,
Yeah.
recognize them, don't dwell on them, don't victimize yourself, move through them, and do the things that you know are good for you. That's the thing.
Yeah. And just know you're not going to be left behind.
Yeah.
You're not. You're going to find your own space in your own world, and you're going to be so much happier following the things that light you up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go do something that you think is fun, but kind of scares you. Go do a class alone. That's one thing that I'm going to be doing. I've been saying it. I've been telling Danielle and I both, we need to go do something alone because we're not going to make new friends if we do something together.
We need to go make friends, but we can't go together because that kind of defeats the purpose.
You know, when you go do something with someone else and you're like, oh, like she's cute, she's nice, but like she doesn't feel welcome to come talk to you because you're already like a friend couple.
Yeah.
So she's like, they're already friends. I don't want to go, you know?
Yeah.
But when you're by yourself and you're just like little solo, Miss Solo at a yoga class, and then another girl sits next to you and you're like, oh my God, new friend.
Yeah.
So Danielle's going to do a yoga class. I'm going to go do a ceramics class.
We're going to make friends, you guys.
Yeah. If you're in Santa Cruz, want to be our friend. Oh my God.
We're new here. We're the new kids in class.
Oh my gosh. Literally at recess. Oh my gosh. We're like the awkward sisters. Our mom's like, don't play together. You guys got to go find other friends. And we're like, no. I'm scared. Our neighbors invited us out to a 4th of July.
Okay, but the way you say that, our neighbors are like 70.
Okay.
You said that like, oh, our neighbor friends. Nothing against that. We'll go. It's going to be great.
We live in a residential neighborhood in Santa Cruz.
Basically, our friends can either be 5 or 70. Those are our options.
I love that, though. I love living in a residential neighborhood.
It.
I'm like, we got families everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everyone's quiet by 7 p.m.
Yeah.
No one's walking around the neighborhood doing sketchy shit.
Yeah.
Unless you're a non-local.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The friend I've made in the neighborhood is a dog, so that says
Danielle
a lot
loves
about
the
me.
dogs.
My friend Andre, shout out to Andre across the street.
But apparently they're having a shindig on the 4th, which also feels weird. Who else feels extremely weird about being patriotic? Like, how do you, what?
It does feel weird.
And I'm proud to be an American. Yes. So proud of America. What? What?
Oh,
what's your 4th of July outfit going to be?
Oh my God. I don't know. I own one red piece of clothing. I'm not very patriotic.
This is what the 8-year-old next door asked me this morning. Hey, Savannah, what's your 4th of July outfit going to be? And I was like, oh my God. We're thinking about this?
I bet they're going to be so cute.
The little Old Navy t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever have one of those? I never had one.
Probably not.
They always bought, oh man, that was my sustainability kicking in at like age 8. Because I already then I thought that was so unsustainable. Why would I buy a brand new shirt
just for one day?
For one day, every year. Yeah. Old Navy 2004. Cool. Actually, I do think I had one in 2004. That's why I said that. Anyway, hope you're a proud American out there, or Canadian.
Hope you have a great 4th of July. If you go out with people, if you're social, if you're not, do your thing. Do what makes you happy. Do what's going to align with your highest self.
Take a Xanax and go to sleep so you don't hear any of the fireworks. Do that, because I also understand the stressors of fireworks. I hope your dogs are okay.
Yeah, we're going to drug our dogs up with some CBD so they don't have to stress on all the loud noises. They're little trauma dogs.
Such a stressful holiday. Yeah. It's hot. Everyone stay hydrated. Oh my gosh. My inner mom.
I know. I was like, now we're going too far. Wear your sunscreen.
Be safe. Don't talk to strangers.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Don't do that. Don't talk to any men, any strange men in
Don't
general.
Talk to men.
Just in general. Just to be safe. I don't trust a lot of them, so just to be safe. Just talk to the
Blanket
girls and the
statement from
gays
Danielle.
and
Oh.
the theys, and that's it.
Yes. The girls, the gays, and the theys.
And that's it.
Is that a saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did not come up with that.
Well, I'm just old. I don't know anything. I'm like, yes, queen. Love that for us. Let's put that on a t-shirt. And you're like, no, that's not ours. Not our saying.
We can still put it on a t-shirt just as long as we're not taking credit for it. But
well, anyway.
We hope you have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week.
Don't feel left out. I hope you don't have any FOMO over 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just 4th of July. There's nothing to feel left out about.
I feel like most years I don't do anything for 4th of July, and I'm like perfectly happy not doing anything, which is weird because I like being out in the world, but 4th of July has just never really done it for me. I don't know why.
Well, we'll be here at our block party having homemade ice cream.
70-year-olds.
I'm stoked. I'll be in
Listening
bed
to some
by
Pink Floyd and some.
Be in bed by 10. It'll be great. Be a great Sunday. It's a Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
early.
All right, kumbaya.
Love
Peace
you all.
and love.
Follow us on Instagram at The Authentic Souls. If you want to talk to us about what you want to hear next week, email us, DM us on Instagram, all the things. We'd love to hear from you.
Leave us a review.
Oh yeah,
on iTunes.
Yeah. We'd love you if you do.
Pretty please. I asked last week. No, I asked 2 weeks ago. No one did it. So maybe this week someone will do it. Pretty please.
We'll give you a shout out next week.
Y'all, we can see you listening.
Yeah.
So we know you're there.
Yeah.
And we love you. So I'm saying this with love. If you want us to show up again, go leave a review. All right. No, but for real, we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job. We did it. I think that was our best yet. Bye.
Bye.